Hello, everyone. Today we have a very interesting story about the chasm that often exists between our deepest desires and our daily deeds. By the end of the story, we'll learn the profound truth that even the grandest vision remains a mere whisper without the echoing force of purposeful action. But that's not all. We'll also uncover a subtle yet powerful psychological deception that keeps countless individuals trapped in a gilded cage of imagined success. And crucially, I'll show you the practical keys to unlock your way out. Once upon a time, in a sprawling, verdant valley where a river sang softly as it wound its way through bountiful orchards and fields, lived a gifted young man known as the Dreamweaver. The Dreamweaver was celebrated not for his physical strength or his tireless work ethic, but for the sheer brilliance of his mind. He possessed an extraordinary gift for ideation, an almost mystical ability to craft intricate, vibrant tapestries of future triumphs and grand accomplishments within his imagination. He could articulate these visions with such charm and conviction that he often captivated those around him. Yet, despite his robust intellect and the healthy physique bestowed by his youth, the Dreamweaver found himself living a life of stark simplicity, often relying on the quiet generosity of his more industrious neighbors. His greatest pursuit, it seemed, was the consistent and elaborate indulgence in his magnificent mental narratives.
One crisp autumn morning, news rippled through the valley. A venerable elder, a successful merchant who had amassed considerable wealth through decades of judicious trade and community building, was generously distributing a unique and potent resource. This was not gleaming gold or shimmering jewels, but something far more valuable to their agrarian society: a small packet of exceptionally resilient, high-yield crop seeds. These seeds held the promise of an abundant harvest from even a modest plot of land within a single growing season. It was a gesture of profound community support designed to uplift those striving for self-sufficiency. The Dreamweaver, ever keen to seize opportunities that promised significant returns with minimal immediate exertion, quickly joined the line. Soon, a small, tightly sealed pouch, pregnant with the potential of these coveted seeds, rested in his hand. Returning to his unassuming dwelling, the Dreamweaver carefully placed the pouch on his worn wooden table. Instead of immediately heading to his own neglected patch of earth to begin preparation, his gaze drifted out the window. He looked past the neatly tilled rows of his neighbors' fields towards the distant, hazy peaks of the mountains. He settled comfortably onto a simple mat, closed his eyes, and began to dream. In the Dreamweaver's mind, that modest pouch of seeds began a miraculous transformation. He saw himself meticulously sowing them, not in his small, overgrown plot, but across vast, perfectly irrigated acres that shimmered under the sun, stretching endlessly towards the horizon. He envisioned the elements conspiring in perfect harmony, coaxing forth a harvest of impossible abundance. He saw himself at the bustling marketplace, commanding the highest prices, his pockets overflowing with silver and gold.
But his mental journey didn't halt there. With the profits from his colossal grain harvest, he would acquire a prized herd of the finest wool-producing sheep. He pictured their fleeces, impossibly thick and luxurious, grazing serenely on his burgeoning estate. The wool, he knew, would fetch an even higher price, allowing him to expand his operations exponentially. Soon, his flock multiplied, and the Dreamweaver found himself overseeing a flourishing textile empire, his woven goods coveted by traders from far-off lands. His imagination soared higher still. From textiles, he diversified into exquisite leathercraft, then into rare and exotic spices, and eventually into sparkling precious gemstones. He envisioned himself as the wealthiest man in the entire region, his manner a beacon of prosperity, his name whispered with reverence and awe. He would host royalty, his influence extending across entire kingdoms.
He even saw himself married to a woman of unparalleled beauty and grace, a true scion of noble lineage. Time passed in this glorious mental landscape. Years unfolded. He pictured a handsome son at his side, his eventual heir. A son, he mused, with a slight furrow to his brow, who might inherit his father's vast fortune without truly comprehending the arduous effort that had built it. A son who might become indolent, ungrateful, perhaps even utterly lazy. The Dreamweaver's frown deepened. How could he be so sluggish? He muttered aloud, his voice resonating in the silence of his imagined hall, when his father began with nothing but a handful of seeds and forged such an empire. He pictured his phantom son lounging idly, squandering the fruits of his father's imagined labors. A flash of irritation, born entirely of this conjured scenario, surged through him. He imagined himself, the sagacious and powerful patriarch, sternly confronting his idle progeny. He would impart a crucial lesson about responsibility, about the intrinsic value of diligent effort. In his deepening reverie, the Dreamweaver instinctively reached out for something, anything, to underscore his point to his imaginary child. His hand closed around a small, sturdy branch that lay beside him. With a sudden, involuntary sweep of his arm, a forceful swing intended to illustrate the firm discipline he would impose on his imaginary, future lazy offspring, he struck the very table where the pouch of precious seeds lay. The small pouch, caught squarely by the unexpected blow, flew into the air, burst open, and scattered its vital contents across the uneven earthen floor. The high-yield crop seeds, the tiny sparks of his magnificent future empire, rolled into cracks and crevices, lost amidst the dust and dirt, many crushed beyond all viability. The Dreamweaver's eyes snapped open. The grand estate, the bustling businesses, the beautiful wife, the languid son, all vanished. He was back in his humble dwelling, the stick still clutched in his hand, his gaze fixed on the scattered, ruined seeds. The oppressive silence of his small room pressed in, broken only by the faint sounds of his neighbors, already diligently toiling in their fields. The reality was a stark, almost painful contrast to the opulent world he had just inhabited. He felt a profound sense of loss, not for what he possessed, but for what he had so vividly imagined, and then, through his own inaction and a moment of unfocused mental energy, completely destroyed. He spent the rest of the day in a haze of profound disappointment, picking up the few salvageable seeds, a meager fraction of the original pouch. Nothing had changed in his outer world, but internally, a bitter truth began to settle. His magnificent future, built entirely within his mind, had crumbled before it ever took a single step into reality. This narrative of the Dreamweaver isn't merely a captivating tale, it's a profound mirror reflecting a pervasive human tendency. How many of us, much like the Dreamweaver, possess incredible latent potential, brilliant ideas, and grand aspirations, yet find ourselves inexplicably mired in a cycle of passive hoping rather than active doing? The uncomfortable truth is, it's remarkably easy to succumb to what I call the illusion of accomplishment. The illusion of accomplishment is a powerful psychological mechanism where our brains, ever seeking the path of least resistance to pleasure and gratification, simulate the feeling of achievement without requiring any actual investment of effort or exposure to risk. When the Dreamweaver imagined his vast empire, his brain, in a fascinating display of internal chemistry, released dopamine, that potent feel-good neurotransmitter, as if he had genuinely attained those goals. This creates a compelling yet utterly insidious illusion. The inherent satisfaction derived from the act of dreaming itself becomes a seductive substitute for the actual, often arduous process of doing. Consider this for a moment. Constructing a real-world agricultural empire demands meticulous planning, back-breaking physical labor, unyielding resilience against pests and unpredictable weather, astute financial stewardship, and the constant gnawing risk of failure. It is inherently uncomfortable, riddled with uncertainty, and often agonizingly slow. Yet in the Dreamweaver's vivid mental landscape, all of that discomfort was conveniently bypassed. He experienced the exhilarating sensation of being a supremely successful, powerful magnate without enduring a single moment of sweat, stress, or the inevitable setback. This mental shortcut is undeniably seductive. It permits us to feel remarkably productive, accomplished, and successful, all from the comfortable confines of our own minds, our thoughts racing with limitless possibilities. But here lies the crucial, often overlooked catch. While our brains revel in this intricate simulation, our external reality remains stubbornly, uncompromisingly unchanged. The seeds, whether they are literal grains or metaphorical opportunities, remain unsown. Precious opportunities glide by, unnoticed and unseized. The dreams, however vivid and meticulously detailed, never truly materialize. We inadvertently trade genuine, tangible progress for a temporary, fleeting surge of imagined victory. And frequently, just like the Dreamweaver, we only snap out of this intoxicating reverie when a harsh, undeniable reality jolts us awake, painfully reminding us of the ever-widening chasm between our magnificent internal worlds and our stagnant external lives. The allure of the mental mirage. So, why are we so susceptible to this illusion of accomplishment, this mental mirage? It's rooted deep in our evolutionary biology. Our brains are incredibly efficient machines, designed to conserve energy. Imagining a challenge and its successful resolution can sometimes trigger the same neurochemical rewards as actually accomplishing it. This can be a useful tool for planning and motivation, but it becomes a trap when the imagination completely supplants action. Think of it this way. Your brain is offering you a highly sophisticated virtual reality experience. You can put on this mental headset and experience the sensation of building your dream home, writing your best-selling novel, or launching your revolutionary startup. You feel the pride, the satisfaction, the joy of success, all without lifting a finger, confronting a challenge, or risking a single failure. The problem is, when you take off the headset, the real world hasn't changed. The blueprints for the dream home are still just thoughts. The novel remains unwritten, and the startup is still just an idea. This isn't to say dreaming is bad, far from it. Vision is the compass. But without legs to walk, a compass is just an interesting piece of metal. The mental mirage becomes dangerous when the satisfaction of dreaming replaces the necessity of doing. The brain, having received its dopamine hit, often signals mission accomplished, even when nothing has been accomplished in the physical world. This is why many people can articulate their grand plans with stunning clarity, yet their lives show little evidence of progress. They are consistently achieving their goals within the comfortable confines of their own minds, without ever having to face the messy, unpredictable, and often difficult reality of genuine execution. The very vividness of their dreams can become their undoing, acting as a potent narcotic that lulls them into a state of contented inaction. Bridging the chasm, the power of microactions. So, what is the potent antidote to this seductive illusion of accomplishment? It's not to suppress your dreams or stifle your imagination. Those are the essential fuel for any meaningful ambition. The true antidote is aligned action. It is the conscious, deliberate decision to construct a robust bridge between your internal visions and your external, tangible efforts. It means internalizing the profound truth that the smallest, most imperfect step taken in the real world is immeasurably more valuable than the most perfectly conceived yet utterly unexecuted plan residing solely in your mind. Consider the Dreamweaver's potential empire once more. It didn't necessitate a miraculous intervention. It required him to simply plant those initial seeds. Even if they had yielded only a modest harvest, that harvest would have been real. It would have provided invaluable tangible experience, imparted hard-earned lessons, and established a modest yet utterly solid foundation for the subsequent step. Genuine success isn't a sudden, colossal leap. It's a relentless, consistent series of small, often unglamorous, yet crucially real steps. Here's how you can proactively cultivate this essential practice of aligned action. 1. Deconstruct your grand ambitions into atomic steps. Your empire or your overarching goal might feel incredibly overwhelming, a colossal mountain to climb. Resist the urge to focus on scaling the entire peak at once. Instead, meticulously break it down into the absolute smallest, most unequivocally achievable first step. For the Dreamweaver, this foundational action was simply preparing his patch of soil and gently placing those initial seeds. For you, it might manifest as dedicating a focused 15 minutes to thorough research, crafting and sending a single email, initiating one crucial phone call, writing just one paragraph, or practicing a specific skill for a brief, defined period. The key is to make it so small it feels almost impossible not to do. 2. Embrace the next logical step mindset, not the what if. Deliberately cease asking yourself, what if I fail catastrophically, or what if this all goes wrong? Instead, consciously shift your internal dialogue to, what is the very next, most logical thing I need to do right now to move forward? This powerful shift transforms your mindset from one of passive, paralyzing speculation to active, empowering problem solving. Each what next is a foundational brick meticulously laid in the construction of your real-world empire. 3. Actively lean in to productive resistance. Real, meaningful work rarely feels entirely comfortable. It inherently demands discipline, unwavering perseverance, and the fortitude to confront and navigate setbacks. Instead of instinctively avoiding this discomfort, which our brains are hardwired to do, consciously lean into it. Reframe it mentally. See it as an unmistakable sign of genuine growth and progress, much like the satisfying muscle soreness after a truly effective workout. That burn signifies that you are actively building something substantial and real. 4. Ritualize the celebration of small wins. The dopamine rush derived from fantasy is immediate, potent, and incredibly addictive. To effectively compete with that internal reward system, you must intentionally acknowledge and ritualize the celebration of every small, tangible step you take in the real world. Finishing that focused 15-minute task, successfully sending that difficult email, receiving that initial rejection, these are all invaluable data points, irrefutable proof of your active engagement, and profound reasons to acknowledge and commend your effort. Give your brain those real dopamine hits for real progress. 5. Establish external accountability or a robust system. Sometimes the sheer internal motivation isn't quite enough to consistently overcome the allure of the mental mirage. The external pressure of regularly reporting your progress to a trusted accountability partner or integrating a robust system that meticulously tracks your daily actions can provide that essential, necessary push to move decisively beyond pure mental simulation into concrete action. This external force acts as a beneficial anchor to reality. Remember, the Dreamweaver's ultimate downfall was not a lack of innate talent, a brilliant mind, or even an opportunity. It was the profound failure to translate his immense mental energy into physical, tangible action. He mistakenly believed that the sheer vividness and intricate detail of his fantasy could somehow act as a legitimate substitute for the solid, grounding force of sustained effort. So, as we reflect on the Dreamweaver's cautionary tale, I urge you to sincerely ask yourself, where are you right now allowing the illusion of accomplishment to subtly yet powerfully hold you back? Are there metaphorical seeds of opportunity in your life right this moment? Perhaps a small project you've been procrastinating on, a new skill you've yearned to learn, or a difficult but necessary conversation you've deferred that you've permitted to remain unplanted, while your mind diligently constructs magnificent, ethereal castles in the air. The truly good news, unlike the Dreamweaver, whose precious seeds were physically scattered and irrevocably lost, is that your intrinsic potential remains absolutely intact. Your inherent ability to start anew, to meticulously gather those remaining seeds of opportunity, and to plant them with newfound purpose and unwavering resolve is always, unequivocally present within you. It is time to transition from simply dreaming of your success, however grand and inspiring those dreams may be, and to actively, consistently engage in the small, often uncomfortable, daily work that inexorably transforms those dreams into a tangible reality. Your dreams are valid, they are powerful, they are the very genesis of greatness, but they unequivocally require the grounding, vital force of purposeful action to truly take root and flourish. Today, right now, choose one tiny, tangible step towards one of your deepest aspirations. Do not permit yourself to become paralyzed by worries of imperfection or the daunting prospect of not seeing the entire winding path ahead. Simply take that critical first step. Plant that very first seed. Because a real, albeit initially small, harvest is infinitely more valuable, more impactful, and more empowering than the grandest, most meticulously detailed vision that exists only within the confines of your head. Start today. Your future self, living the vibrant reality you've meticulously built, will offer you the deepest gratitude.